Welcome to our session. I'm Hae-young Kwon, CEO and co-founder of Tend to Play. Today, I'm going to talk about a multimodal approach to hyper-personalizing your game, how we build multiple empirically proven models and encourage players to purchase more and play longer. Before we dive into this talk, let me briefly tell you about Tend to Play. Tend to Play is an AI solution that personalizes the game for every player. With Tend to Play, game developers and publishers can maximize the lifetime value of their players. To maximize profitability, it is important to establish a large player base and retain them as long as possible. Keeping players as long as possible will maximize purchase frequency and amount. And taking care of existing users is always cheaper than user acquisition. Attracting new customers is 5 times more expensive than nurturing the existing ones. And nurturing existing users is faster than gaining new users. Furthermore, iOS is making an update on mandatory opt-in permission for IDFA, which will inevitably lessen the ROI of targeted ads. Already 30% of mobile game players are actively going into settings to disable IDFA, and according to Market Insight, 90% of players are expected to opt out when the update starts to take serious action. Mobile games that rely heavily on targeted ads must find new ways to increase revenue without having to collect external player information. To survive and prosper, you need to focus on retaining the existing users and improving the monetization. The ways to take care of existing users can be providing the right customer services, adding new content, balancing, and providing promotions and offers to the players. In this talk, we will be discussing the importance of providing the right promotion to the right player at the right time, and our hyper-personalization approach of doing so. Key takeaways will be definition of hyper-personalization, how other services are doing, and how games can provide hyper-personalization. Multi-modal approach for hyper-personalization, what is different from single model and why multimodal works. And 28 personas derived from multimodal approach and few examples. Hyper-personalization is gathering behavioral data in real time and designing or producing something to meet an individual's requirements, or simply put, offering service that each player wants and needs. It is not about selling what you wish to sell. It is about selling what your players wish to buy. Traditionally, marketers have provided the same offers to every player. There's nothing wrong with this, running campaigns and providing promotions and events to everyone. But drawing users in with non-intrusive methods while identifying what each player truly wants by analyzing their in-game behavior is vital for hyper-personalization. If you provide hyper-personalized offers to your players as such, it dramatically increases retention and revenue. And that's what major service and content providers are trying to achieve. Netflix, Steam, and Amazon have developed their own recommendation systems in the hope of catering to each customer and providing what they want or what they're most likely to choose and increase revenue. In games, what kind of guidance, content, or items the individual player needs will all be different depending on their user journey or play styles. By providing hyper-personalization services, you can maximize profit and sustainability. Let's think about an MMORPG and a new player who has signed up, logged in, and cleared the tutorial stages. After doing so, the player will start collecting material, acquiring equipment, and learning skills. In certain players, there may be cases where the players feel that they've dived headfirst into the deep end without realizing just how deep it went. In this case, the game can provide hyper-personalized tips containing examples from other higher-level players who show similar playstyles and motivations to the player, throwing them a lifeline that will save them from being overwhelmed and keep them playing the game. Most data analysis in the gaming industry relies on a single predictive model to segment their players. For example, one can segment players by their purchasing amount, such as minnows, dolphins, and whales, or predict a player's estimated lifetime value with playtime and frequency. Of course, you can provide personalized offers with this approach, such as providing promotions to the whales, those who are most likely to make more purchases. However, this single model approach has apparent limitations. It only lets you know how players behave or the expected result of their behaviors, not why they behave in a certain way. But to provide hyper-personalization, understanding why is crucial, as you need to diagnose intrinsic player needs and wants. A multimodal approach based on behavioral economics lets us know a player's motivations by analyzing them from various angles, such as social tendency, currency usage, and time distribution. This approach yields adaptive and comprehensive player analytics and reveals what makes a user continue to play and why they make purchase decisions and even why they leave the game. Our multimodal yields more than 28 distinct personas or player groups, which make us understand individual motivations and needs from a behavioral economic point of view. With this, we can leverage further engagement by hyper-personalizing gaming experience for each player. So let's go back to our ideal hyper-personalization example in MMORPG. One of our multi-models analyzes currency usage behavior, and this graph shows the different behavior between paying users and non-paying users. Spending and gaining in-game currencies efficiently is an important activity in MMORPG, and paying users show the ideal behavior. As you can see from the fluctuations in currency saving rates, they spend and save currencies repeatedly and play actively. You can see that paying users have spent most of their currencies in obtaining skills and buying items in the premium shop. If you look at non-paying users, on the other hand, the amount of currencies they have decreases continuously. This leads to difficulty in game progression and eventually churn. You can see that non-paying users have spent most of their currencies in skills and manufacturing. Although they are non-paying users right now, if you analyze what problems they are facing and provide hyper-personalized services and offers, you can encourage them to play longer, eventually leading to them making in-app purchases and increase lifetime value. And the multimodal analyzes players' behavior throughout their journey from day one to synthetically reveal the reasoning behind their churn, such as players who are interested in the game but uninformed, or players who are adventurous but not successful. Most players who are having trouble managing currency efficiently show less social interaction with other players meaning they have access to less information about the game. Since they lack the information of what the most optimal thing to do, they tend to play without a specific goal or a well-established strategy. This results in poor choices in quest selection and character management. Models such as social tendency and leveling speed provide holistic understanding into the current status and dilemma of such players. In this case, Tend2Play recommends strategies and stat distributions used by top players or players that are quickly progressing to guide uninformed players towards the right direction. Players respond positively to such personalized assistant from the game itself and are significantly more likely to take advantage of the tips. But not all players who have trouble with currency usage are uninformed. From our failure, response, and effort level models, we can see that about 20% of such players are rather impatient with their current progression and venture into dungeons or missions they are not ready for. Due to lacking proper equipment and stats, these players continuously challenge higher difficulty levels with little to no success. If they continue to run into a wall, they have a high chance of churning out from frustration or anger. On the other hand, since these players are already active and engaged with your game, they can return a higher LTV than average if you properly help them clear those harder missions. To do so, Tend2Play recommends equipment or skills that are often used by other players who have cleared the mission. Additionally, cash items with the most value in acquiring such equipment are recommended as well. These personalized offers help these players break through the current dilemma and non-intrusively encourage them to progress further in the game. As discussed, Tend2Play has multiple behavioral economics-based models, and these adaptive models are structured so that they constantly change, meaning our 28 personas are constantly being updated. Therefore, we can identify players' personas in the early stages of a game, in the end stages of a game, or personas which operate independently of the product lifecycle, and thus identify a user's playstyle and motivations regardless where they are within the product lifecycle. This model is also effective for adapting to how users change within their user journey, such as adapting to a user who, early in the game, focuses on crafting equipment, but later on changes to become much more a social player after joining a guild. This is the list of player personas our multimodal derives. The basic idea of player personas is that players' profiles can be identified within two major categories, each with their respective subcategories: playstyle and play motivation. Playstyle refers to each player's play patterns and behaviors, and this can be divided into two subcategories: the way of establishing playstyles and resource usage habits. Establishing playstyles focuses on the way players learn and make a commitment to the games. Passive means not putting much effort into playing or learning the game actively. Time investors put a lot of time into the game, and efficient playstyles mean literally playing efficiently. The examples of passive players can be nostalgic returners, players in the comfort zones, and idlers. Time investors can be on-the-clockers, manual idlers. Efficient playstyles can be smart and busy ones. Let me show you one example: the comfort zone bunker mentality player. The comfort zone is a behavioral state within which a person feels comfortable and does not experience a sense of risk. So players in the comfort zone bunker mentality often do not want to try new content. It is the inner crisis that makes them uncomfortable and churn. Still, as the experience of playing the game is good, The user's joy they experience while playing will rise and fall when an event occurs. So it is important to guide them to recover from the crisis and continue playing. This is an example of a personalized offer for comfort zone bunker mentality players. In this example, the user keeps playing the game with a character Rukan. So the offer shows new missions to try a new character and recover from the inner crisis with less risk. Another way of categorizing playstyle is resource usage. There are savers, those who make mistakes on resource usage and learn, or players who use resources efficiently. Savers can be diamond hoarders, perfectionists. Mistakes and responses can be learners and growers, regretful users. Strategic investments can be setup investors. Let me take another example, perfectionists. When perfectionists are playing games, they want to make a perfect decision, but oftentimes they feel the pressure when they think they need to make the best decision, which leads to poor performance and procrastination, and eventually they churn. So, to the perfectionists, it is important to break the perfectionism procrastination infinite loop. Providing guides or strategies to reduce the pressure can be the one way. This is an example of a personalized offer for perfectionists. On the left side, there is information on the user's playing style. It shows that the player is saving too many coins, which hinders game progress, so the offer recommends ways to spend coins. Some of our player personas are defined by play motivations, and these play motivations are categorized into 4 categories: personal satisfaction, personal reward, social interaction, and public recognition. Psychologists have been classifying the basic human needs by 2 metrics: whether the person's motivations are more intrinsic or extrinsic, and whether the motivation is more personal or social. Intrinsic motivation is more focused on the activity itself. People do something because it is inherently interesting or enjoyable. On the other hand, extrinsic motivation refers to doing something because it leads to a separable outcome. When a person is more in need of self-expression or subjectivity, one is more personally motivated. On the other hand, when other people's opinions or judgments matter to a person, they are more interpersonally motivated. And these divide player motivation into 4 parts. Players with personal satisfaction motivations can be collectors. Players who prefer personal rewards can be speedrunners or impatient players. Players with social interaction motivations can be supporters or guildies. And players who like to be publicly recognized can be competitive players. This is an example of a personalized offer for collectors, one of the personal satisfaction motivations. It shows the unique player's experience and history of collection, building a personal relationship with the player. Rabbit PvPers are one of the player types whose motivations fall into the category of public recognition. In this example, hyper-personalized service provides personally tailored suggestions and purchasing options, helping the players get what they want. So, if you install the SDK into your games, users are categorized into 28 personas automatically, and hyper-personalized offers will be created and sent automatically. All you just need to do is watch as LTV grows. We know you want to focus on developing the best games you can. Let us help you do that. To learn more about us, please visit our virtual booth or visit our website tendtoplay.io. Thank you very much and hope you enjoy the rest of GDC event.